When saving for retirement, you want to get the best possible return so you have more money in retirement. Now, it's common sense, but thanks to a new 2023 law, 401k fund managers are now allowed to invest your money in stocks of specific companies, even if they earn a lower return. What's this new investment strategy? It's called ESG, and it stands for environmental, social, and governance. And the idea of these ESG funds is that you can do well as an investor and do well for the world. Well, sounds good, right? All signs actually point to maybe not. Hi, and welcome back to Stop Being Sold. My name is Michelle, and I'm here with Brian. And in this video, we're taking a hard look at ESG funds and 401ks, what they are, how ESG could maybe be detrimental to your portfolio, and whether or not ESG funds are just another cash cow for Wall Street. So, Brian, there's a lot to cover. Let's just dive in. Define for us an ESG fund.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. And it's a set of standards for a company's behavior used by socially conscious investors to screen potential investments. Sounds good, actually, right?
Yeah.
ESG funds, also known as sustainable or impact funds, allow people the option to make investments based on the environmental, social, governance, and governance principles. These are investments that have as their focal point things other than the fundamental performance of the company as it relates to selling products and getting money in exchange for those products or services. They also come in a variety of flavors.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. Fund managers might funnel money into green energy firms, companies with diverse corporate boards, or better labor practices.
So, Brian, if you don't mind, real quick, I want to provide some background on how ESG funds got into 401ks in the first place, because I think it's really important just for the conversation as a whole.
Yeah, go for it, Michelle.
Okay, so 2022, year ago, the Labor Department issued new regulations allowing retirement plan fiduciaries to consider the potential financial benefits of investing in companies committed to positive ESG actions. The rule went into effect at the end of January 2023, so just a few months ago, that allowed fund managers now to invest your money in ESG funds. The rule reversed a move by the Trump administration in 2020 that made it harder for 401k plans to put in ESG investments on the menu. Now, here's the kicker. In March of 2023, Biden used his very first ever veto that would preserve the rule about ESG funds and 401k plans. So there currently are pending legal challenges that may complicate efforts to keep this veto in place, but for now it stands.
Yes.
So, Brian, proponents of ESG investing argue that addressing climate change, improving corporate governance, and promoting diversity can actually boost profits. However, critics and regulators have raised concerns about these claims as well, concerns over just how green, diverse, or socially conscious these companies actually are.
True. Researchers at Columbia University and the London School of Economics compared the record of U.S. companies included in ESG fund portfolios compared to those that are not, and analyzed their findings in the Harvard Business Review. They found that companies in the ESG portfolios had a worse compliance record for both labor and environmental rules. They also found that companies added to ESG portfolios did not subsequently improve compliance with labor or environmental regulations.
I mean, I don't know why I'm shaking my head, because really it doesn't shock me. Just because something has the ESG stamp of approval doesn't mean that they're climate friendly or socially responsible. I mean, just look at some of these companies that have those high ESG ratings. And anyway, so I checked out Morningstar's. It's called Sustainalytics, I think. Is that how you say it? Sustainalytics. One of the largest analyst-based ESG risk ratings in the market. And, you know, I was kind of shocked with what I'm not naming anybody in this, but do your own research. I was really, really, really shocked with how many companies have a climate friendly that you're like, wait, what? It's an oil company. So anyway, so one thing too to point out, a recent European Corporate Governance Institute paper compared ESG scores of companies invested in by hundreds of institutional investors and that had signed the United Nations Principles of Responsible Investing. It's also called the PRI, and the thousands that did not. So basically what they did is they compared people that had signed off on PRI versus those who hadn't, right?
Yep.
The paper did not find any improvement in ESG scores of companies that held this PRI signatory funds, right, after their signing. And what's worse is that financial returns were lower and the risks were higher.
Yeah, Mir Statman, professor of finance at Santa Clara University in California, concluded the same thing, that socially responsible funds tend to have higher annual fees, so their returns are likely to lag behind over time.
Interesting.
Yeah, these are his words, not mine. Short run realized returns are noisy because of luck or other circumstances, sometimes favoring ESG investors and sometimes favoring non-ESG ones. Each tends to crow when returns favor them. Common, right? The logic of fees, however, suggests that in the long run, ESG investors are likely to earn lower after fee returns than non-ESG investors. The Wall Street Journal also found that managed ESG funds cost 5 to 15 times as much in fees when compared to an index fund.
15 times as much in fees?
Yeah, and that's a huge issue. And one more 401k investors need to be aware of, because fees eat away over time at our retirement savings, which can impact your long-term retirement income. It doesn't matter if we're talking ESG funds or target date funds, investors need to know how much they're paying in fees, period.
Well, it seems to me that with ESGs, a company's first concern should no longer be how much money it makes, but rather how much social good it does. Profits take second place to race, inequality, gender, and environmental factors. And I'm not poo-pooing the idea of wanting to invest in things that you believe in and stay out of companies that make you cringe. I mean, I do that when I pick.
Yeah,
I don't want
same
to.
here.
I don't want to be in a company that has crappy labor practices. No, I don't. And I do think that I do think that people need choice, right? It's important to have choice in what we invest. But this ESG thing seems to be denigrating profit. And when that happens, there's less money to actually do good, to hire new people, to be innovative. And then looking just personally at the impact it will have on 401k holders, how are they supposed to, you're expecting to make X, Y, and Z, or, X later on, and this may not happen. And that's not right.
No, even if you wanted to address those concerns about climate inequality, et cetera, how would ESG funds help you do it?
Yeah.
The thing to remember is currently there's no consensus on ESG standards.
Yeah.
There's no regulated scoring, and the ratings are unregulated. Here's a good example. 3 self-proclaimed ESG watchdogs have given Tesla 3 completely different ratings: best, worst, and middle rating.
Which one's accurate?
Really?
Which one's accurate?
Exactly. Who knows? Bloomberg actually did a great short documentary on this entitled ESG Ratings Are Not What They Seem. And we're going to put the link below so you can watch it.
It's a really interesting short documentary. Highly suggest checking it out.
Yeah. Michelle, inside of it, they found 155 of the companies they looked at got upgraded just for sitting still, because MSCI, the rating company, changed the way it weighted the score and changed the methodology. So company scores went up as a result.
Yeah.
They use McDonald's as an example. Its total emissions are those that match the entire country of Portugal due to beef. But when MSCI gave it an ESG rating upgrade in April 2021, it did that by reducing the rating of emissions from 5% to nothing, and instead replacing it with a new initiative that McDonald's had launched around recycling.
Insane.
Except, and this is interesting, that the recycling initiative came from installing bins in select locations in the UK and France.
Okay.
But when producers looked closely, Michelle, they found there was either an upcoming regulation or a threat of regulation in France and the UK that would have forced McDonald's and others to install those recycling bins anyways.
Yeah, so McDonald's got ratings or a ratings upgrade for doing the bare minimum and only doing something because they were probably going to be regulated to do so in the first place, right, as well as not being counted for all the emissions it was putting out into the atmosphere. Like, that's just insane.
That's correct, though.
Well, it sounds like someone is making some institution is making a lot of money on ESG ratings and ESG funds.
Yeah.
Here's my question. If ESG endangers profits, offers no clear metric for success, and is a mediocre investment, then why is it even a thing? To me, it seems like more like a control and a giant money grab from investors.
Yeah, the more I dig in on this, the more it really bothers me.
Yeah.
Until this new law, the law required fund managers entrusted with 401k savings to invest the money where it was expected to get the most profit. Now it appears the definition of what's best for the client may not be in what's in the best interest of the client.
Yeah.
And I'm a fiduciary and have been for decades. And my clients dictate where they want their money invested, not the SEC, not fund managers, and definitely not me personally.
Yeah, and not the labor department.
Right. Oh, yeah. And if a client wants ESG funds, we go get them and we find the best ones. It's that simple. Sure. Same with bonds, stocks, and any other investments that the client wants. Remember, it's about the client. If a client tells me they don't want Philip Morris in their portfolio because of the dangers of smoking, we don't buy it. The client dictates the investments. We just facilitate their wishes.
Amen to that. Here's the thing. If you like the content of this video, you made it this far, hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Actually, if you're leaving comments, we want to know what you think about this. Because like Brian and I've said, it's not that ESG in theory sounds great. It does.
It does.
But just looking at the data, I don't know. There's something fishy here. So Brian, I have one question for you. For those who have 401ks, what's the best way to go about finding out A, if they have ESG funds in their portfolio, and B, if they do, what do they do about it?
Well, it depends. Well, first of all, go to the investment menu of the 401k plan. Okay. See what's in your portfolio. And then if they're not just listed as ESG funds, sometimes it'd be hard for you to understand. Pick up the phone and call the 401k provider, not your HR department, because your HR department probably don't know it either. Sure. You want to call whoever the investment manager of that portfolio is and ask them, say, look, in my portfolio today, are there ESG funds? If there are, explain them to me. That's what they get paid to do. Somebody on their team will give you that information and then let you make that honest decision on whether or not you want them in your portfolio or not want them in the portfolio. Remember, it's about your decisions and your choices.
Okay, there you have it. Here's the thing. Stay tuned to our channel, means subscribe, for future updates on this important topic, because I do think there's a lot coming out about it right now. And I think as more people wake up, there's either going to start regulating how they rate ESGs or something's going to give. So go ahead and do that. And if you're wondering if you should keep funding your retirement accounts in the midst of everything going on economically, check out the video that we're dropping below. Should you stop? What do you do instead?
Sure.
Check that below. And also we're going to put all the resources that we mentioned in this video down there. So you can go check it out for yourself. Do your own research.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. And thanks to everyone who watched.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.